We've got news about what the Prime Minister's up to today. He's going to be chairing an emergency meeting focusing on the heatwave.
Yeah, and of course, another really big issue for voters, not just in their everyday lives right now, but also when people are going to the polls. I think, more people now are thinking about what parties want to do about climate change, the extreme heat that we're seeing. So Andy Burnham is going to hold what's called a COBRA meeting later this afternoon. Now, he's been under a bit of pressure from political parties to do this, the Liberal Democrats, the Greens, particularly Zach Polanski. I think he'll be looking at this today. He'll call this a win for the Green Party because they've been accusing the Prime Minister of being missing in action on this issue. The government would say they haven't, that they've been they've got a national drought group, they've been having meetings with government departments to address the drought. But when you involve a Prime Minister to be talking about this issue, I think, from an optics perspective, this is Andy Burnham saying, I'm addressing it and I want to listen to people's concerns. So number 10 saying this morning, we know how challenging this summer is proving, particularly for firefighters tackling wildfires, farmers working in drought conditions and NHS staff in busy A&E units. We will continue to take the action needed to keep communities safe, protect water supplies and safeguard the environment. The question mark is, OK, what exactly is going to come from this meeting? Is anything concrete going to happen? I mean, there are a number of things that the government could do, but there are reports in the papers today that firefighters in this country don't have access to a water-bombing aircraft, for example, which would help them tackle the wildfires. So will Andy Burnham come out afterwards and announce a number of things that are going to kind of come in immediately? That's the question at the moment.
Yeah, because and actually we're talking to a firefighter a little bit later about some of the challenge they've had and what more they need. So really interesting to see what does come out of that meeting. Lucy, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Another heatwave, as we were just saying, on the way. Let's get some details, shall we? Jo Wheeler is with us, our meteorologist, of course. So, Jo, just how hot is it likely to get this time round?
Well, it's quite likely we could see temperatures reaching 36, 37 degrees Celsius. The August record is 38.5. Maybe we won't make it quite that far. Certainly yesterday, we didn't quite make it to 30 degrees. But we have now had 35 days this year where temperatures in one area or another have surpassed 30 degrees Celsius. And of course, we're talking about this as being the fifth heat wave of the year. It has been a very long, hot summer and it's not over yet. And it's also not been for everyone. Certainly England and Wales have seen those very high temperatures. For Scotland and Northern Ireland, not quite so much. There's been more in the way of cloud there. They've even seen some rain. Do you remember that? Comes out of the sky, a bit wet. And the interesting thing about this summer is that usually a British summer is 3 fine days and a thunderstorm. That's always been the standing joke, if you will. And we've not seen that. We haven't seen kind of a few fine days, then a breakdown in the weather, nor have we seen a rain belt coming through, which has introduced a newer, fresher body of air. And it does look like this weekend we are going to see that kind of change with rain coming southwards and behind that cooler, fresher conditions. So we see a drop in temperatures. Now, when I say a drop, we're still going to see 25, 26 degrees Celsius, which is quite warm enough for most of us, and really quite pleasant. The extreme heat and the reason why we've got this amber weather warning for tomorrow is because these are the kind of temperatures which actually make life pretty uncomfortable. We're going to see potential interference with infrastructures. Trains don't like it, roads don't like it. If you think back to 1976, when the tarmac was bubbling on the road, obviously it can have a massive, massive impact. And alongside that, of course, we've got the lack of water. We've had a hosepipe ban in many places, except, interestingly, Hartlepool. I don't know why they managed to escape. So people haven't been able to water their gardens. You can see the grass behind me. It's scorched, it's brown, it's yellow. And of course, there are vast acres of woodland and forest land, which is tinder dry now. And we saw the unfortunate situation on Sunday where a vehicle caught fire close to the south, the New Forest, and that started a fire which has taken 3 days to contain. It takes so very little. And then, of course, just a bit of a moderate breeze, and that fire has moved on really quite rapidly. So we've first of all got the heat, which in and of itself doesn't cause wildfires, but it certainly contributes to the conditions where they can prevail. So this is, if not our last hurrah, it's certainly going to be extremely warm over the next couple of days, likely to turn cooler and potentially a little more changeable at the weekend.
OK, well, that's interesting to know. And also, I did want to ask you a quick question, Jo, about tonight, because we've been talking a lot about the solar eclipse or the partial solar eclipse that we're all going to experience across the country. But we want clear skies. Are we all going to get that?
Maybe not all of us, but it should be pretty good. It's about as good as it's going to get. England and Wales should be absolutely crystal clear. Obviously, the eclipse is happening at dusk. So it should be very visible. Scotland and Northern Ireland, again, likes to be a little more cloudy. But even from there, and it is a partial eclipse, we're not seeing a full eclipse. You need to be away down in Southern Europe for that. Back in 1999, which was the last eclipse, I was in Cornwall and it was utterly spectacular. Confused the children a lot, but utterly spectacular. And I'm hoping for something similar tonight. And for most of us, it should be visible, or at least partly visible.
I know, it's going to be amazing, isn't it? It's just another excuse to talk about it, really, Jo. Thanks very much indeed for that. So pretty reassuring for people in England and Wales, at least. And thanks very much indeed, Jo.